live stream, yep. Down in the corner. So
Oh,
let's see
good,
if I
good,
can-
good. Okay,
And I'm gonna
good.
go into my page.
So now
and
let's
it should-
go.
Unsupported get request.
Well, it said it was live stream, so let's go
Yeah, I think that
back.
just comes up.
Yeah, I think that just comes up.
Okay,
So where's my
let's
Zoom again?
go
There
back
we
here.
go. This meeting,
is in live stream.
great. So
Got
let's say
it.
got it.
And
So
it
let's
says it up
mute
there.
us.
Yep. Stop the video here.
And
Howdy, peoples. Can y'all hear me? I cannot hear you yet.
Yep, can you hear us?
Now I can.
Perfect.
Sorry, it took me a second to get myself situated on the Zoom and all. All right, Kathleen, do we have folks who have signed up for public comment today?
We have one such person signed up for the library item. So Nick Dembski is here from the library, so he'll speak on
Okay.
that.
Okay, great. It's good to have a heads up. So I will mention that when we get started.
Yeah, I figure I will read the item and then maybe take public input right thereafter.
I think that's good, but I'm just going to make a little announcement in the beginning that we're trying
Okay.
to do, public comment, and that we have one person who signed up for public comment today.
Perfect.
Great. So we have, let's see, I'm just looking, we have Alder Pete and Alder Horton and Mr. Mayor, and Attorney Letney, those are the folks that I can see on my screen. Is there anybody else? So we are waiting on other members. Do we know if Alder West will be joining us? I know that January was a bit up in the air.
I have not heard from Alder West at all. I don't think Pam has either.
Okay, I think he's requested to be excused. That's my recollection. And then, so we're waiting on Alder
All of January. Okay.
Tate II. Do we have other council members no with us? Okay, just checking before we get going. Okay, so I want to wait a little bit until, it's 5:30, but I want to wait until we have Alder Tate in the house. Although technically with me, we have quorum, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Also, Alder Jones had requested to attend virtually. I don't know if she got a hold of you.
I did not see a request from Alder Jones. I just checked my email, but I can check it again. But if I check my email, then I go off screen for a second for reasons I don't fully understand. Let me check real quick.
Okay.
I can still hear you, and I think you can still hear me, but I don't know if you can see me. I do not have any communications from Alder Jones that I can see on email or on my phone. It's certainly, I would be happy to have Alder Jones or other alders who want to join. I just have not received any requests directly.
Alder Tate has arrived.
I see that. Welcome, Alder Tate II, Mr. President. All right, so if we have the hour of 5:30 having arrived, I think we can get ready to go on live if we have not done so already.
Yes, we are live already.
Fantastic. Okay, so the hour of 5:30 having arrived, I am going to call this meeting to order, which means the first order of business is the roll call.
Okay. Alder Taft,
I am here.
Alder West is excused. Alder
Yes,
Pete,
ma'am.
Alder Horton,
Present.
Alder Tate II.
Present.
That completes roll call.
Fantastic. Okay, then that brings us to the next item, which is the approval of the minutes for our last meeting, which was November 28th, I believe. Sorry, my eyes are old, getting older. November 28th. So do we have do we have a motion on this item?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, moved by Alder Pete, I believe seconded by Mr. President. Do we have any discussion?
Horton.
Oh, it was Alder Horton. Okay, sorry. I will just let somebody else say who did what, because it's hard for me on Zoom to hear who exactly it was. And y'all are kind of wearing dark clothes and in a line. It's hard to see your mouths. Okay, so I am going to ask for any discussion. Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Please take us to the first item, Director Fisher.
0023-23, communication sponsored by Mayor Mason on behalf of the Chief Information Officer requesting permission to apply for the Federal Communications Commission Affordable Connectivity Outreach Grant Program, ACP Outreach Grant Program, control number 00494. Staff recommendation that the Chief Information Officer be granted approval to apply for the Federal Communications Commission Affordable Connectivity Outreach Grant Program, control number 00494. Fiscal note grant amount requested is no more than $750,000. City soft in-kind match no more than 10% of the grant. CIO Edwards is here to speak on the item.
Please proceed, Director Edwards.
Thank you, Chairwoman Jackson, Director Fisher. Just a quick little background on this. So part of the Smart Cities goal is, one of them is to reduce the digital divide and increase broadband services throughout the city. And so this is what this grant looks to help do. The FCC's Affordability Connectivity Program provides a $30 discount for an internet bill monthly for eligible citizens. And eligible citizens include household incomes for participation, low household incomes or participation in SNAP, Medicare, WIC, SSI, etc. It can also include a $100 discount for laptops, desktops, and tablets. And so the citizens would actually work with participating network providers. And this would be throughout Racine. We actually have over 50 providers in the city that have signed up to partner with the FCC on their ACP program. Some providers will even provide total discounts, so the household actually pays nothing. So this grant pays for an awareness campaign, outreach, and enrollment activities. Our goal after 2 years is to enroll 3,000 people, which is half of the people within the city that don't actually have internet in the city of Racine. Any questions?
Alder Pete, please proceed.
Yes, thank you. Is there any possibility of ongoing funding? Can it be renewed?
So this is a 2-year grant. It's a new grant that just came out this year because basically the FCC realized that out of the millions of people that should have signed up for the ACP, not very many have in comparison. I think it's 17 million signed up and there's like the ability to have 50 million. So they're providing this grant so cities and states can actually come up with programs to help do more outreach. So I do not know if it's going to be offered afterwards, after the 2-year program.
Alder Tate, the second, please proceed.
Well, I was just going to comment that you mentioned that there is a piece, marketing or advertising piece, to make the 3,000 people or public aware
Well, actually,
of it.
exactly. We're actually expecting to outreach to about 50,000 people. We're going to be doing a direct marketing campaign. We're going to have aspects of it to door. We'll have approximately 172 outreach events and 138 enrollment events are planned in our grant application.
Okay. President Tate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the $750,000, that includes the advertising. Does that also include the actual subsidy that people will receive to reduce the bills?
No,
Okay, so that's separate.
right. The subsidy is coming directly from the FCC.
Okay.
This is just a grant to help the citizens of Racine have more outreach than they're currently getting. And so we plan to work with a lot of the approximately 20 nonprofit partners within the city to help get more information out to groups like the veterans and elderly community, those whose English is not their first language, et cetera.
But I'm glad that's clarified. But that's all I have to know. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, 9 of them.
Go ahead.
So are we looking at 300 individual accounts or 3,000 individual accounts or 3,000 households connected? Because I think that's a reasonable
It's,
distinction.
at this point, we said household/individuals. We're hoping to get 3,000 individuals because that's how it's counted. But the way the monies work from the FCC, it's per household. So if there's 2 people in a household, then the household gets the $30, not each individual person within it.
So then would that count as 2 people for our numbers or 1 person?
It would count for as a household as opposed to an individual. So we actually have to count them both ways.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? All right, I cannot, okay, I mean, I can only see what's, I can only see, right? So I just want to make sure, like, the committee members, just let me know if somebody else in the audience wants to ask a question or something like that. And thank you all for raising your hand up so I can see your hands when I do this. Okay, any other questions, comments for Director Edwards?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by, well, I'll let you all do that. I think it was Tate then Horton. Okay, any moved and properly seconded, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please, Director Fisher.
Item 0020-23, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the fire chief requesting permission to accept a grant for $25,000 from the Racine Community Foundation for the acquisition of a trailer to be used for hauling heavy equipment associated with the hazardous materials and technical rescue teams. Grant control number 00491. Staff recommendation that the fire chief be granted approval to accept the grant. Fiscal note, there is no local match required for this $25,000 award. Chief Hansen is here to speak on the item.
Good
Please.
evening, Chairman Taft and members of the Finance Committee. As you recall, earlier last year, we came before the council to apply for this grant, and of course, we were successful. What we're doing with this grant is consolidating 3 trailers down into 1. So we're getting 1 bigger trailer where we can bring all our equipment in one place. From an emergency response standpoint, this we only need 1 tow vehicle versus 3 tow vehicles at some point in time. The Racine Community Foundation has been very gracious in working with us on securing this grant that will allow us to get this trailer. And once the grant is approved, we'll move forward with the Racine Community Foundation.
Any questions for the chief? Seeing none, a motion would be in order at this time.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, moved and properly seconded. Any discussion on the item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? I believe that motion carries. Next item, please.
Item number 0021-23, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the fire chief requesting permission for the purchasing agent to proceed with the purchase of a new self-contained breathing apparatus from Oshkosh Fire and Police based on their estimate number 6302. Staff recommendation that the purchasing agent be granted permission to procure from Oshkosh Fire and Police as being the lowest responsible bidder, a new self-contained breathing apparatus. Funding for the new SCBA to come from 2023 Fire Department CIP program. I'm going to modify this fiscal note just slightly. It should say total cost of $432,396. Funds to defray the cost are available in 45030-57300. I just wanted to add the dollar amount there in the fiscal note. Chief Hansen is here to speak on the item.
Good evening again. The self-contained breathing apparatus have a life expectancy of 15 years. The last time we purchased this equipment was back in 2008. At this point in time, everything has reached its end of life, and we are required under OSHA regulations and NIOSH and multiple other regulations to purchase new breathing apparatus. So the current units have been around for 15 years. This grant will allow us, this purchase will allow us to replace those self-contained breathing apparatus with another of equipment that's very similar to what we currently have, except modernized, and has a life expectancy of 15 years. This will purchase 59 units. There were two bidders on this. One was Oshkosh Police and Fire, the other one was Jefferson. There was a difference of about $30,000 between the two bids, and this is the lowest responsible bid. So appreciate your time on this and hope for approval.
Any questions for the chief? And seeing none, a motion would be in order at this time.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, moved and properly seconded. Any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item number 0031-23, communication sponsored by Alder McCarthy on behalf of the fire chief requesting permission for the mayor, city clerk, and finance director to approve and sign the equipment donation agreement between the city and Ascension All Saints for the donation of a chemical decontamination trailer to be used with the Racine Fire Department Hazardous Materials Team. Staff recommendation that the mayor, city clerk, and finance director be authorized to approve and sign said agreement with Ascension All Saints. Fiscal note, there is no local match required for this. Chief Hansen is here to speak on the item.
Thank you. This unit is it's basically a walk-through trailer that's about 35 feet long. And it's used for decontaminating individuals that have been contaminated with whatever, whether it's chemicals or pepper spray or whatever. It's a self-contained unit that Ascension All Saints has had for a number of years. They have found that it is surplus for them. It has been very lightly used over the time that they've had this trailer. So essentially, we're getting like an almost like new trailer for no cost. I believe originally this was like a $100,000 purchase for the hospital. So this trailer, this acquisition would help our hazmat team not only locally but regionally, as we are a regional hazmat team, a state asset that responds throughout southeast Wisconsin for any emergency that occurs. But this enhances our capabilities, especially locally here. If we have something where we need to wash down a lot of people in a very short period of time using warm water in weather like this, as opposed to cold water. It's got a generator. It's got a containment system for catching the runoff water, which then we dispose of properly. So this unit will help us out significantly.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Alder Pete.
Thank you. Are there any commitments from the city to Ascension?
There are no commitments.
Okay.
This is a straight out donation. And this has been reviewed by the city attorney's office. They've worked on this for several months now to make sure that the agreement is appropriate.
Okay.
Any other questions for the chief? Okay, seeing none, a motion would be in order at this time.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, moved and properly seconded. Any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please. Thank you, chief.
Item number 0019-23, communication sponsored by Mayor Mason on behalf of the finance director to discuss closing the tax increment financing district number 20, Regency Mall. Staff recommendation that the finance director be granted approval to close tax increment financing district number 20. Fiscal note in this particular case is NA. This would be my item, obviously, so I'll speak on it just briefly. Tax increment district number 20 was created by the Common Council at the time in 2017. At the time, the project plan was significantly different from what we are intending on doing today, as well as the boundaries of the district were relatively different. As you may recall, back in the fall of 2022, this Common Council approved tax increment district number 30 for Regency Mall. That district will take the place of this district. So this is really more of an administrative thing to close district number 20 so that the development can be done under TIF district number 30, have the full life of the 27 years of the district. Any questions for me?
Alder Tate, please proceed.
ADM, it knows the original district has recovered most of the expenses, but about $20,000 of expenses will be covered from Fund 452. What are those $20,000 worth of expenses that will remain at this point?
Good question. So the expenses relating to the creation of District Number 20, the majority of those were related to professional services, attorneys' fees, architects, engineers for that district itself. Normally, that district would recover those increments because we're closing the district early. Those won't be fully recovered, although the district will see increment in 2023 of about $40,000, which covers most of the costs in there. That leftover $20,000 would then be covered by the IG fund, which is standard operating procedure for a young life district.
Any other questions for Director Fisher? Seeing none, a motion would be in order at this time.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item number 0001-23, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the City Attorney's Office submitting the claim of John Klinkhammer for consideration for disallowance. Staff recommendation that the claim be disallowed. Assistant City Attorney Rubik is here to speak on the item.
All right, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the first 4 of these claims, and we're obviously going to take them each individually, but the first 4 are all arising from the same event, and the facts, the underlying facts are all pretty much the same, and the legal analysis that led us to recommend this allowance is pretty much the same. What changes is the claimant's name, the amount they're claiming, and the address where the claim occurred. So in the interest of swiftness, I will just run through these. Basically, on September 11th through 12th of last year, we saw an unprecedented storm. They call it a 200-year storm. The city received up to 9.75 inches of water in 18 hours. And this, of course, overloaded our sewer system, which caused a lot of basements to flood. The sewer system is designed for what's considered a 10-year storm. This was one every 200 years. So it was more than it could handle, but for these 4 claims, the sewer system was operating as it's supposed to. It's just this is what happens. In insurance parlance or claims parlance, this is known as an act of God. It's some natural disaster that no one could have prevented. In the first claim, John Klinkhammer, he's asking for $10,000 for his basement at 2832 Illinois Street in Racine. Damages were allegedly caused by water in his basement. Because the city is not legally liable for the acts of God, we are recommending disallowance of this claim.
Okay, any questions for Attorney Rubik on Alder Tate II?
So what are the specific legal precedents of backing that absolves city liability for quote acts of that?
So, I mean, you can look to notice of a defect in the sewer system. Here, there was no defect, to be found. It was functioning as it's supposed to. We just can't design a sewer system. It's not economical to design a sewer system to accommodate the 200-year flood. We designed them to accommodate, the average amount of rain or a big storm that would occur maybe once in every 10 years. So there was nothing that was functioning improperly on our end. This was just an unfortunate natural disaster that couldn't have been foreseen or really planned for. I did note in all of these that the wastewater department does recommend that homeowners install a drain backflow preventer in their basement floor drains. A pretty economical way to prevent this from happening or mitigate it if it does happen. Say after reviewing all these claims, I wouldn't get one installed in my basement floor drain.
Yes, my follow-up, and this is obviously, we wouldn't be the expert in this, but the reality is, while this was a once in 200-year storm, we're seeing these large events more frequently. To what degree does our liability increase as these storms become more frequent because of the factors that are shifting weather dynamics?
You know, I think it ultimately comes down to the system you have in place and whether or not there are defects in your actual system. This system that we had in place was functioning as it was, you know, maybe as we replace segments of the system throughout the city. I think this is a conversation for another meeting, but you know, maybe they could weigh that in as a factor. Do we need to expand the volume of our sewer pipes? But I'm certainly not the person, not the expert on that subject.
I just think it's worth noting because, you know, we had a once in 150 or 100-year storm just 2 years ago. And then we had a once in 200-year storm 2 years later. And there's not a low probability that we'll have a once in a several 100-year storm again in the near to not so distant future. And while I certainly think we need to be encouraging residents to take mitigating actions for themselves, also as a governing system, not only as a city, but state and federal, to recognize that these things are going to occur. And if we're not doing something to mitigate the frequency of them occurring, we need to be doing something to mitigate what happens and how people are impacted when they occur. But that's all. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, so a motion would be in order at this time.
Move to disallow.
Second.
Okay, moved and properly seconded. All in favor? Oh, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next claim, please, Attorney Rubik.
Thank you. This one is the claim of Kathleen Robeson. She's claiming damages in the amount of $15,254.28. Damages allegedly caused by water in her basement arising from sewer backup.
Sorry, but can we read the item number?
Sure, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. 0909-22 communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the city attorney's office submitting the claim of Kathleen Rubison for consideration for disallowance. Staff recommendation that the claim be disallowed.
Thank you.
My bad. Thank you, Alder Tate.
So again, Kathleen Robeson, damages in the amount of $15,254.28. Her street address is 2031 Marquette Street in Racine, and pretty much same scenario as the last one we discussed.
Move to disallow.
Second.
Okay, moved and properly seconded. Any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please, Director Fisher.
Item number 0908-22, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the city attorney's office submitting the claim of Vimlesh Patel for consideration for disallowance. Staff recommendation that the claim be disallowed. Ms. Rubin.
Take it away.
This claim is filed by Vimlesh Patel in the amount of $11,246.23 for damages allegedly caused by water in his basement rising from a sewer backup on the September 11th to 12th, 2022 storm. His address is 2900 Illinois Street in Racine, Wisconsin. And we again recommend disallowance for reasons previously discussed.
Okay, any questions for Attorney Rubik? Seeing none, a motion would be in order at this time.
Move to disallow.
Second.
Okay, moved and properly seconded. Any discussion at this time? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please, Director Fisher.
Item 0910-22, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the city attorney's office submitting the claim of Thomas and Mary Peterson for consideration for disallowance. Staff recommendation that the claim be disallowed. Ms. Rubik.
Thomas and Mary Peterson claimed reimbursement in the amount of $2,568.29 for damages allegedly caused by water in their basement at 3514 21st Street in Racine. Again, this occurred during the 200-year storm, and we recommend disallowance for the reasons previously stated.
Okay, any questions on this item? Seeing none. Sorry, go ahead.
Move to disallow.
Okay. Moved and properly seconded. Any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please, Director Fisher.
Item number 0016-23, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the City Attorney's Office, submitting the claim of Grace Lutheran Church for consideration for disallowance. Staff recommendation that the claim be disallowed. Attorney Rubik.
Thank you. So this claim is different from the last four, although it also stems from the September 11th through 12th 200-year storm. This is a claim for $50,000 for damages allegedly caused by water backing up into the basement of Grace Lutheran Church, which is located at 3700 Washington Avenue in Racine. Adjacent to the church property is Lawn Avenue, which at the time of this storm was under construction. It was under a repaving project. Therefore, there was no pavement. It was all exposed gravel, silt, and rocks and sand. The construction project was being done by A.W. Oaks and Son. And when the rain came, it washed all the rocks, pebbles, debris, sand into the sewer system, which then clogged up the sewer main that was going to Grace Lutheran Church. And that was actually the cause of this backup. As a result, we have recommended that the claimant, we sent a letter to the claimant suggesting that they reach out to A.W. Oaks and Sons insurance agent, which is West Bend Mutual Insurance Company, to file their claim with them, because that would be the primary source of liability for this incident. But on our end, we recommend disallowance. Same reasons as always, this was an act of God, and we don't believe we have liability.
Okay, do we have any questions? Okay, seeing none, a motion would be in order at this time. Oh, sorry, Alder Tate, please proceed.
So as it relates to the potential liability for a third party, would because the city and wastewater utility kind of done reports that would serve Grace Lutheran Church in terms of pursuing that? So would there be evidence from our end to say, actually, this wasn't a matter of a system, it's actually came from this, and that's how you should pursue your liability claim with AWO?
Yeah, the incident was immediately investigated, and we have ample documentation showing what was the cause of the problem.
All right. Thank you. And I guess with that information, or has that information already been provided to the claimant, or is that something that they would need to request at a later time as they pursue?
Don't know for sure if it's been already provided, but they certainly could request it.
Thank you.
Or public record.
Thank you. Just for clarification, you're saying that based from an engineering perspective, the incident, the sewer backup would not have happened had it not been for the work that Oaks Construction and Sons were doing.
I believe that's
Okay.
true. Yeah.
Move to disallow.
Okay, moved and properly seconded. Any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please, Director Fisher.
Item 0911-22, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the City Attorney's Office, submitting the claim of Obed and Rose Pena for consideration for disallowance. Staff recommendation that the claim be disallowed. Attorney Booth.
Thank you. We're done with the storm. This one is the claim of Obed and Rose Pena. They live in Chicago, but they own a property in Racine at 2033 Kearney Avenue. They filed this claim in an unspecified amount of damages for an incident where a city Department of Public Works street sweeper allegedly sort of got caught up on the sort of roof awning of their garage as it was driving down an alley. It sounds like the driver's side door and maybe mirror got caught on, like, sort of hung up on the garage. It looks like that it pulled a chunk of wood off, caused some damage, but the city disputes the amount of damages, and the city also believes that the claim was improperly filed. They didn't specify the itemized damages that they were requesting. What they did include were a couple of estimates for an entire tear down and rebuild of their garage, highest of which I believe was close to $50,000. Based on the evidence, it does not appear that that level of damage was done. So we're requesting disallowance at this juncture.
Okay. Oh, Alder Tate.
Thank you. So with there being obviously a city employee committed some damage to this property, would this process of disallowance now allow for further discussion as to what reimbursement may be offered or recompense may be offered?
Yes, thank you for raising that point.
Yes.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, a motion would be in order at this time.
Move to disallow.
Second.
Okay, moved and properly seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please, Director Fisher.
Item number 0889-22, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the city attorney's office, submitting the claim of Benjamin Bauer for consideration for disallowance. Staff recommendation that the claim be disallowed. Attorney Rubik.
Benjamin Bauer filed a claim with the city requesting $50,000 for damages allegedly arising from being bitten by a stray dog on or about July 11th of last year. The city denies liability and recommends that the claim be disallowed. What occurred was there were two stray dogs running throughout a pretty large swath of a neighborhood. Every time they encountered people, they became aggressive. And we had Racine Community Service officers, and at some point, Racine Police Department got called in for backup, trying to corral and capture these two dogs. The two dogs approached the claimant and female who he was with, and the CSO on the scene and a police officer on the scene both warned them that the dogs had been known to be showing aggressive behavior and that they should just stay in their fenced-in backyard away from the dogs. Nonetheless, they persisted to approach the dogs with a bowl of water and some treats. At first, it looked like the dogs were receptive to this, and at that time, they offered to try to help corral the dogs into their backyard. But probably in an instant, one of the dogs became aggressive, started growling, started barking, and lunged for and bit the claimant, Mr. Bauer. Therefore, he believes the city to be liable for his medical bills. The city does not believe it's liable, disputes the liability, and requests disallowance of this claim.
I think it's already been implied, but what did the city have to do with it anyway when the and the police tried to, convince them to stay away from the animals to start with? What else could they have done?
You know, I think the claimant the logic of his claim appears to allege that the dog should have been captured before they even encountered him. Certainly, we were putting forth a sincere effort to capture these dogs, and gave them fair notice of their aggressive tendencies, and the way he proceeded was contrary to officers' advice, and therein they assumed the liability for what they sued.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Alder Tate?
Where are the dogs now?
They were brought to the Humane Society.
Okay, so they were kept.
Yeah.
That's, I just make sure they weren't still.
They were apprehended.
The guy got away like, well, no, ATV.
We can shoot.
Well, clearly.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Any other questions? Seeing none, a motion would be in order at this time.
Move to disallow.
Second.
Okay, motion properly seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, Director Fisher, please.
Item number 0030-23, communication sponsored by Mayor Mason and Alder Taft, requesting a resolution in support of encouraging the Racine Public Library Board to implement wage and benefit increases for the 2023 budget. Staff recommendation that the Finance and Personnel Committee support passing this resolution to the Common Council. Fiscal note funding is included in the adopted 2023 city budget. We do have one public input individual this evening. Nick Dempsey, I believe, is here from the library to speak on the item.
Yes, please proceed, sir. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee members. I just wanted, before I start speaking, I want to clarify that I'm not here on behalf of the institution, but here speaking as an individual who works at the Racine Public Library. I'll just jump right in. There seems to be an abundance of different perspectives on this, and I hope and trust that all parties involved are acting out of what they truly believe is the library's best interest. But the voice of the staff of the library has been given almost no space in this dialogue. A voice I would hope would not only be permitted, but would be solicited when considering an issue like this. And so I at least am here tonight to try to represent the voice of myself, but also the staff I've spoken to in this moment as well as I can. I can't speak for every staff member in the library. I certainly won't try to speak for our director of board members, but I will say that every single staff member who has spoken to me about this issue is not surprisingly in favor of the libraries giving its employees the same wage benefits that have been given to the other city staff, and vehemently so. Beyond that, I personally also would enthusiastically encourage our board, as this resolution does, to adopt these benefits as well. It is my understanding that this funding and these benefits have not been adopted because the board is concerned that if they give the staff raises and then we hit a fiscal cliff in the future, it will make the cuts we have to make larger and more difficult. This is a reasonable concern. I see it from a different perspective, though. I believe if we don't take the funding that is being offered now and we hit a fiscal cliff in the future, we as an organization will only be at a greater disadvantage in many ways, but especially in terms of recruiting and retaining staff. And there is, of course, the reality that this fiscal cliff I'm talking about is theoretical and may not manifest at all, or not in the ways expected. And if the library were to have not given its staff raises every time the financial future of the city was uncertain, we simply wouldn't have raised wages in years, if not decades. So it's a very concerning precedent to set. The people wrapped into this controversial issue are people I care deeply about on all sides. They're my friends, neighbors, colleagues, some of them mentors even. I'm heartbroken at how much confusion, mystery, seeming miscommunication, and general dysfunction have seemed to shroud this issue. I'm not pointing blame anywhere for this, nor do I even feel certain enough of the details of how it all unfolded to say I would even know where blame is deserved. I'm not interested in blame. but my people at the library feel incredibly demoralized from this process. And I, at the very least, have a responsibility to represent my voice and their voices in this dialogue, which again, has not been present in it so far. There are many angles from which to talk about this issue, but I will just conclude by saying that whether it is worth anything to anyone or not, the library staff and I sincerely believe the best decision for the institution and for the community would be to accept the funds from the city as this resolution promotes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So I believe that is the public comment, the only public comment we have for this item at this time, correct?
That is my understanding. Anyone else for public comment for this item?
Okay.
Seeing none.
Okay, so at this time, I believe, Mr. Mayor, did you want to speak on this item first?
I mean, just to reiterate, I think Mr. Dembski did a good job laying it out. This isn't about trying to assign blame anywhere. It's just to clarify for whatever reason that these funds are available as promoted or proposed in the budget last year and adopted by City Council. There are funds available for these wage and benefit increases. The resolution we have before us is to encourage the library board to make those raise and benefit increases available to the library workers as they've been made available to every other city employee.
Okay, does anybody else have a question or a comment at this time? Alder Tate II, please proceed.
I just want to speak in favor of the resolution. It's a bit ironic that we're 3 months past the budget, which effectively is a resolution to say this is what we're going to pay for, and this is what everyone who's subject to those funds should also be adopting. That we're actually still passing another resolution reiterating our position that employees, at least those who are under non-bargaining groups, should all have the same level of benefits and increases that have gone across the board. So I'm certainly, as I was at the budget time, in support of these, supported it today. And I think one of the things that's worth noting is the library staff itself is largely, city residents, and also one of the few departments of the city that is mostly city residents, many city residents, but also professional services, because many of our other highly populated city resident divisions are kind of more manual labor. So it seems inappropriate that we would withhold, or that it would continue to be withheld, the same benefits that have gone everywhere else, particularly for a division of the city that largely embodies the values of the city, which is that inclusion, which is that residency, which is, reaching out and providing services to people no matter who they are, where they come from, in the best capacity that they can. So certainly I want to be supportive of our library workers, library staff, as we were at the budget time, and reiterate that again today, that the benefits and wage increases that we allocated for the budget time strongly encourage the library board to adopt those. And I think, one of the concerns obviously was say, the funds that allow for these things to occur are on a finite timeline. They're largely driven by the federal ARPA funds and rescue plan funds. I'm thankful to the Biden administration for sending those out. And there's a reality that for now, we know how long those funds are going to be available. On the flip side of the concern about what we do when those aren't there, if you can do something good for the people who serve your community, and you can only do it for a temporary time, do the good for the people who serve your community. Don't be fearful of the future and not support the folks who are serving you right now. It's unfortunate that you have to kind of deal with uncertainties in the future when they get here, but if there's a time to celebrate, if there's a time to reward, you should do it while you can. We're doing it for every other department in the city as well, even though we're collectively bargaining. While we can do these things, we ought to do these things, because the reality is we might not be able to in the future, and that's going to hurt for everybody, no matter what. But if we can help people right now, then perhaps if there's a time in the future when things will have to hurt, it won't hurt so much because they got the help they need today. So that's, again, I'm very much supportive of this. I think putting the people first where they are today is the best thing that we can do even if the future is uncertain about how we'll be able to do it later. Because today is today, and people need help now, and we have the ability to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, President Tate. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? If not, I just also want to speak in favor of this resolution. I am a co-sponsor of this resolution. I think it's desperately important that we, that the hard workers at the city, at the library, the city employees at the library receive the same benefits and wage increases as the other city workers have done. They like all of our city workers have done an amazing job providing services, much needed services for our community during the pandemic through very difficult times. These wage increases are well deserved, and to reiterate what Alder Tate II said, while we can do good, we should do good. And the Lord knows the city employees deserve anything that we can provide for them in these difficult times. And so I just want to also speak in support of the resolution. Any other questions or comments? Alder Pete, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to agree that I support it because I would have a difficult time conscientiously denying the resolution, or I couldn't come up with grounds to deny it by turning it around in light of what everyone has already expressed. Thank you.
Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, a motion would be in order at this time.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, moved and properly seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I believe that is the last item before we vote to go into closed session, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so Director Fisher, if you would not mind reading the blurb for the closed session.
Absolutely. It is intended that the Finance and Personnel Committee will convene in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 19.85 par 1 par E to address a matter that for competitive or bargaining reasons requires a closed session, specifically to formulate collective bargaining strategy and pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 1985 1G to discuss strategy for litigation in which the city of Racine is currently involved. You'll need a motion and a second to go into closed session.
In closed session.
Second.
Okay, moved and properly seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Alder Taft,
Aye.
Alder West is excused. Alder P,
Aye.
Alder Horton,
Aye.
Alder Tate II.
Aye.
That completes roll call to go into closed session.
Okay, we are in closed session. If we can get that all set up, please, that would be fantastic.